Angela Rayner, thank you very much for speaking with us, this time from Ronnie Scott's. Really
Behind the scenes in
behind
Ronnie Scott's.
exactly.
We're where all the artists come before they go out there and play. This is pretty cool.
We're here in the green room, and I think it's a really exciting announcement for Londoners today. You made a sort of playful reference to the fact that you're supporting the nighttime economy, you like the nighttime economy. Just explain what you, Rachel Reeves and Sadiq Khan are announcing today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm supporting the nighttime economy one night at a time, but I do think there's a seriousness to this. It's £62 billion worth of our economy, the hospitality industry. And what we want to see is, you look at the continent in Europe and they have al fresco dining. There's lots of work that we've been working with the mayor on Oxford Street, for example, pedestrianisation. So we could have cafes where families can come. We can enjoy the weather that we get here as well, and really trying to boost the economy and deregulating and some of the duplication and the inconsistencies that we have in the system is actually start to work together to build that nighttime economy up. Manchester hit the Times Out magazine as one of the best venues in the world. We want to see London as part of that global economy. We want to compete with New York and Los Angeles and places like Ibiza in Spain. This is a great place to come and enjoy yourself.
And this is starting in London, this task force that you've convened. And then is the hope that this could be rolled out to, say, give Andy Burnham in Greater Manchester the powers as well and roll this out to other key parts of the UK?
Yeah, so we're piloting here in London, the greatest city in the world. Sadiq will be very happy I said that. Andy Burnham will probably say you just lost the support of the great Mancunians. But, it is one of the greatest cities in the world, and that we do want to see it piloted here. We know there's been challenges. The economy has really struggled because the cost of living and the pandemic, especially in the hospitality sector. We want to make sure that we put more money in people's pockets with the national living wage rises that we saw. 3 million people getting a significant pay rise, and they'll be able to spend that in the local economy, and we want to see that benefits for the hospitality industry.
And that increase in the living wage is going to be very welcome to a lot of people, but businesses have expressed concern about this Sunday when the national insurance rise comes into effect. That will also hit nighttime economy, the sector as a whole. I just wondered what your message to businesses would be on that.
Well, we know it's been challenging, and Rachel talked about the fact that we've now for the 5th month in a row brought down NHS waiting lists, and we're starting to turn the tide on some of the challenges we faced from the previous government. That was difficult, but we've also added stability with the increased long-term business rates cut for business, so that they know that what the business rates will be. We've got more coming forward in the spring to make sure that we're helping the high street. We're doing work in my department on making sure the high streets are thriving. Yvette's doing work on antisocial behaviour and crime, so that people can feel safe on the streets, and that we can see a hospitality sector that has got stability for the long run, and actually that people have more money in their pockets because we're dealing with the cost of living crisis, so that people can go out and enjoy themselves. I always say that people go to work to live, not live for work, but for far too many people at the moment, they're living for work and there's nothing beyond that, and they're hoping to get to the next paycheck just to pay their household bills. We've got to turn that around, because if people are working, I think people should be able to have a social life as well and take the family out at least once a month, and for far too many people that is way out of their stretch now, and that is unacceptable. So we've got to bring down the cost of living, support UK industry, and make sure that we have a thriving economy into the future.
And this today then, is this all part of that growth mission to grow the economy? Do you think this will have a sort of substantial effect if this gets adopted after the trial?
Well, I think hopefully you'll have seen from the roundtable we had with the industry today, we're listening. They've said to us, look, it's not always just about money. Yes, we're very concerned about some of the other challenges that we face, but also the regulatory framework and our ability to grow the economy has been hampered by regulation and licensing constraints. So the work we're doing now hopefully will unlock the potential working with the industry. So the key message is government is listening, we're on your side, we're going to support you however we can, because growth is, for us as a government, a target, but it's also a target for businesses and industry, because growth for them means that they can employ more staff, and that we can make sure that we have a thriving economy regardless of world events. We know about the tariffs that President Trump have been putting forward, making sure we've got a stable economy here is what the Chancellor is really focused on, and within our national interest to have those jobs for the future for our young people. And that's in industries like the hospitality industry, in the defence industry, in the construction for my homes, or whether it's with the green energy. These are thousands of jobs that are coming through the pipeline now, which will grow our economy and make it more stable into the future.
And just last question, Sunday is when the national insurance rise comes in for businesses. You spoke about the increase in the living wage, which is very welcome to many people, but what's your message for business who are looking at that and very worried?
Well, we protected over 1 million businesses will not see an increase, or they will actually see some benefits of the changes the Chancellor made. But of course, some businesses are going to pay more. But what the Chancellor set out was a once-in-a-generation budget. It was a budget that had to take into account the mess that was left behind. But the NHS is already turning a corner quicker than we anticipated, because in the last 5 months we've had NHS waiting lists decreasing, more appointments for people. So we are turning the tide on the public sector reforms that we need. And that's important for private business as well, because if you can't get good transport, if you can't get schools, education, if the skills are not right, if you can't get your appointments when you need it to be well for work, that has a negative impact on the economy. So in the round, there's a lot of work we're doing, as I said, with the business rates as well, to give the high street more certainty, as to support them in the work that we're doing. The money that people will have in their pockets through our living wage increase will go back into the local economies and will help. So the ecosystem of change that we're delivering will lay the foundations for the economy to grow into the future.
Before I let you go, I saw you on the decks earlier on here at Ronnie Scott's. Seemed to be a bit of a blame game going on with Sadiq Khan, Rachel Reeves, as to who was sort of firing the jazz music, and I mean, who's to blame?
I mean, they're just not professionals at this, are they? That's all. Sadiq does his best. Rachel, she's trying, but we know who the real professional at nightlife is, and that's me.
Thank you very much, Angela Rayner. Much appreciated.